Hello, this is Tom Welsh from Palo Alto Networks, here to discuss just a few of the ways industry is supporting federal cloud migration within today's virtual summit theme of federal emergency response. First, some context for today's discussion. The 2017 report to the President on IT modernization envisioned a world where agencies are able to maximize secure use of the cloud while modernizing and securely maintaining legacy applications. The Cloud Smart mandate updated cloud first guidance to focus on actionable interdisciplinary ways to accelerate cloud adoption, covering pillars of security, procurement, and workforce to provide return on investment, enhanced security, and higher quality citizen services. With 2019's milestone TIC 3.0 draft guidance, we've adopted a dynamic, adaptable, risk-based descriptive approach to reconciling OMB direction with desired IT modernization outcomes, while still supporting prior TIC investments. This year's TIC complementary telework guidance recognizes that current events have underscored the need to rapidly support a remote federal workforce with secure and efficient access to the cloud. Even after we phase back into shared workspaces, we'll likely see lasting changes in how people get work done, and current events underscore the need to support continuity of government imperatives. The term cloud is often used broadly to describe a range of services offered by cloud and managed service providers, systems integrators, and security solution providers like Palo Alto Networks. For today's discussion, we'll focus on modernizing network access and securing SaaS applications. Commercially available networking and security technologies were designed for specific use cases that may not be cloud-oriented and also may not easily adapt to new scenarios. We may have a variety of technologies such as VPNs, web proxies, cloud access security brokers, and a variety of user locations from physical locations to mobile. However, maybe our SaaS security tools focus on approved or known applications, or we're unable to apply common policies to all users regardless of their location, or maybe the applications aren't secured at all. In the federal scenario, we have a traditional TIC to provide common perimeter-based security. The challenges such as tromboning of traffic and support for cloud adoption are well-known drivers for needed TIC modernization. Even with the flexibility afforded by TIC 3.0, we still have the challenge of providing common policies throughout our policy enforcement points and planning a phased cloud migration path that leverages TIC 3.0, yet aligns with still valid TIC 2.2 use cases and investments. Negative consequences start with the user, from poor user experience to remote access and SaaS applications, to impacting continuity of government, to inadvertently encouraging shadow IT or bypassing of security controls. We see inconsistent policy enforcement, whether between cloud or enterprise tools or between prior investments and emerging policy enforcement point capabilities. Complexity is the enemy of security and a driver of cost, with the additional hidden costs of complexity is exacerbating the federal IT workforce skills gap identified in Cloud Smart. All of this leads to barriers to federal IT modernization and cloud adoption. It's helpful to think about our desired future state to ensure that secure access and SaaS capabilities support visibility and agency security policy while migrating to the cloud or supporting a remote federal workforce. Both draft TIC 3.0 and complementary interim telework guidance prompted by current events provide guidance to support the cloud-enabled mobile workforce. Telework or network security patterns provide access to sanctioned cloud service providers, the web, or selected resources at agency campus locations. It is important to design a model with these security patterns in mind and enforce policy by user and application versus being constrained by the infrastructure at various locations. The cloud-connected branch covers agencies with personnel in more than one location with similar network security patterns. Similarly, designing with these patterns in mind versus the constraints of legacy infrastructure allows us to scale operations or to new agency locations required to support mission needs and leverage emerging technologies such as SD-WAN. To support the philosophy of zero trust, we also need the right foundation. It's no longer simply a matter of categorizing the data, building a perimeter boundary around it, and trusting who's inside. We need to define trust not by location, but by application attributes, whether in the secure access to the enterprise or to SaaS applications themselves, and the data that they have access to, and be able to handle a range of scenarios from users of SaaS applications that are agency sanctioned to those that are unknown or lack robust APIs. An agency's governance and compliance policies need to cover not only locally installed application, but a range of internet accessible SaaS applications as well. Appropriate visibility and control are critical to ensure that we understand which applications are sanctioned, potentially tolerated, or deemed risky and should be prohibited. After establishing governance and compliance controls for the SaaS applications, we need to then protect the data on an ongoing basis to ensure that sensitive information isn't inadvertently shared inappropriately or otherwise subjected to new risks. To support this desired future state, we need a strong architectural framework. For Palo Alto Networks Prisma, our foundation for cloud-delivered security is the Secure Access Service Edge, or SASE model, as defined by Gartner. SASE is the convergence of wide area networking, the network security services like CASB, Firewall as a Service, and Zero Trust into a single cloud-delivered security model. According to Gartner, SASE capabilities are delivered as a service based on the identity of the entity, real-time context, enterprise security/compliance policies, and the continuous assessment of risk/trust through the sessions. SASE may be thought of as providing both a secure network connectivity layer and a security services layer. At the connectivity layer, we need to utilize the broad network access and rapid elasticity essential characteristics of cloud to support users at scale from global locations with different access technologies available and provide consistent security, not only for users in this context, but for also when they may be at traditional agency campus locations. We may use IPsec, SSL, or clientless VPN technologies, clean pipes for large enterprises, or SD-WAN to more flexibly support agency branch locations without requiring a traditional WAN backhaul, such as MPLS, to the agency campus and traditional TIC gateway. At this security service layer, we want to ensure that we have a range of capabilities available to mitigate risk and address policy enforcement point security capabilities chosen by the agency to address TIC 3.0 guidance. For example, foundational technologies to identify and enforce policies for users and applications that are consistent with next generation firewall investments, such as those found at traditional agency perimeters that can be managed with the same tools and support a zero trust philosophy. Included security subscriptions to address known and unknown threats, relying on the power of the cloud for dynamic analysis versus legacy appliance-based sandboxes and URL filtering. This service layer can also work with SaaS application security and other security tools. As people can work from anywhere, we need a seamless user experience regardless of how they connect. The security policies for mobile users must be consistent with the rest of the agency across a simplified network architecture, not constrained by what a separate VPN replacement solution may offer. For example, a cloud-enabled firewall as a service solution share the same policies and management platform as users accessing resources via the agency campus or branch locations. This should not only cloud-enable the workforce, but itself leverage the cloud and its essential characteristic of rapid elasticity. Mobile user volume varies, and as we recently saw, sometimes needs to support a surge to handle all users. Traditional hardware-based solutions or even cloud-delivered solutions that rely on co-located data center hardware simply cannot scale rapidly or automatically based on changing demand or user locations. We want the same consistent policies and rapid elasticity for branch locations. In a TIC 3.0 model, we can deploy appropriate policy enforcement point security policies to our branch locations to avoid backhauling traffic to a traditional TIC gateway. This avoids the tromboning of traffic and the associated poor user experience. This also provides more network connectivity options to include SD-WAN solutions where traditional MPLS backhaul may be undesirable or costly. While remote users can work from a branch facility using the same technology as they may from home, connecting the branch facility itself allows us to secure IoT devices, printers, and other resources. The preceding two sets of capabilities map directly to draft TIC 3.0 use cases and are supported by Prisma Access, the cloud-delivered SASE firewall as a service platform from Palo Alto Networks. For agencies moving towards a zero trust philosophy, it is imperative to ensure the architectural decisions to support remote and branch users also support zero trust in the cloud. As we move away from trusting users based on their location, we shouldn't now simply application to a SaaS application. Rather, we should provide adaptive access to applications based on the agency's risk posture and contextual controls based on the user and device state. Unfortunately, with the cloud, a lot of traffic is often not inspected. Accessing the cloud via an agency's traditional VPN may simply limit who can connect to the agency network, and some VPN replacement solutions focus on web or file transfer protocol inspection only. We need to inspect all traffic and apply threat prevention controls to malicious content and protections to control access to and the movement of data to ensure that we have proper visibility and analysis to manage risk. We need to look at our applications to address risks to normal operations as well as potential shadow IT situations. It's helpful to think about applications as sanctioned, tolerated, or unsanctioned. Sanctioned applications are approved, supported by IT, and are necessary to support the mission. In one sense, they may be the easiest to address as they are highly visible, used by many employees, and may have robust API support. Tolerated applications, however, may be used for specific use cases and still require visibility and control to ensure that they are used properly. Then we have unsanctioned applications that really don't have a legitimate business purpose. These may introduce significant risks to an agency. We want to make sure that agency governance and compliance policies cover not just SaaS applications, but how they're being used, as effective risk management in the cloud requires a combination of content and context. Just because an application is sanctioned or delivered from a FedRAMP authorized cloud doesn't mean that the data is being used properly. In its current state of SaaS summary report, Palo Alto Networks finds that known malware is often delivered by popular and likely sanctioned applications such as Google Drive and OneDrive. Using capabilities like data loss prevention and APIs for our sanctioned applications, we can discover and classify our sensitive data, then monitor, protect, and remediate to reduce the risk of exposure or misuse. The preceding two sets of capabilities are likely future TIC 3.0 use cases that we can support today with Prisma SaaS, working with Prisma Access, a cloud access security broker service from Palo Alto Networks. These services provide a comprehensive security, access, and SaaS solution that can assist agencies in a phased and multifaceted cloud migration strategy. These capabilities support better business outcomes for federal agencies. Agencies can rapidly support a federal remote workforce and ensure continuity of government. And agencies can support agency growth and adoption of new technologies like SD-WAN for branch offices. Agencies can have a consistent security policy across remote users, branch locations, and the existing enterprise, maximizing current investments in the next generation firewalls and providing consistent policy enforcement and ease of migration to the cloud. By reducing complexity of bolt-on solutions and maximizing prior investments, agencies can reduce operational costs and focus cloud-smart workforce development efforts on improving cyber maturity. All of this translates into an improved user experience for the user and an improved ability to support the mission. Palo Alto Networks offers a broad range of capabilities to support your agency's migration to the cloud. Today we focused on the topic of secure access and SaaS, and the Palo Alto Networks services of Prisma Access and Prisma SaaS, which may be used with premise-based or cloud-deployed next-generation firewalls to facilitate a phased migration to the cloud in alignment with TIC 3.0, while maximizing prior investments and enforcing a common policy framework regardless of user location. Other capabilities to assist agencies with cloud migrations may include cloud security posture management and cloud workload protection platform to help compliance and security operations teams prioritize risks, quickly respond to issues, and secure cloud environments against vulnerabilities, malware, and compliance violations, whether they be with traditional cloud hosts, containers, or serverless computing environments. These and other professional services can assist agencies with planning and securely migrating to the cloud and supporting new business workflows such as continuous integration, continuous delivery practices with DevSecOps. Thank you.